to invite Director, Clinical Nutrition, Nutrition Research Center of Singapore, Professor Jaya Henry, to address the graduates.
Thank you very much, Professor McDonald. Your Excellency, Mrs. Bernadette Kavanagh, lovely to see you again. The New Zealand High Commissioner for Singapore, Professor Paul McDonald, Pro-Vice Chancellor, College of Health, Massey University, Mr. Tan, Principal and Chief Executive of Singapore Polytechnic, faculty and staff of Massey and Singapore Poly, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, but of course, most importantly, the graduates and graduating students of the class of 2014. A very warm welcome to you all. I'm indeed humbled and honored to be your guest of honor today. Indeed, I'm delighted to be here for several reasons, but most importantly, two overarching features come to my mind. First, although I'm labeled as a nutritionist, which I am, I'm going to let you into a secret. My first degree was in, guess what? Food technology. I therefore have a personal bias towards this discipline. Secondly, I'm delighted to be at the graduation ceremony of one of the best courses in Singapore that is available on food technology, and may I dare to say, perhaps in South Asia. Today is a very special day in your life. After long hours of study, pain, hardship, uncertainty, you have reached the shores of success. It is a day of celebration for you, your parents, your loved ones, and your long journey has ended today with your graduation. As Professor McDonald pointed out, the end of one journey is the beginning of another longer journey in life. The opportunities ahead are limitless, the paths boundless, and your prospects absolutely endless. Let us in fact begin with some thanks and appreciation. Firstly, to your parents, your guardians, your relatives and siblings who have given you unbridled support towards your academic success. Secondly, to all the staff and tutors, both from New Zealand and Singapore, who have not only imparted didactic knowledge, but have also opened your eyes to the greater opportunities that lie way ahead of you. You are indeed privileged to have undergone rigorous training in a discipline, notably food technology, that's going to play a pivotal role in our world today and beyond. As many of you are aware, Singapore is investing very, very heavily in the nutrition and food science technology space. Its aim is to become a global player in the not too distant future in this particular arena. A major prerequisite in the coming years, surely in Singapore, will be the need for highly skilled workforce competent in the areas of food technology and food science. I therefore sincerely hope your current course will continue in some form or shape for years to come here in Singapore, because it fills a unique niche in the food science landscape of this country. So why are we so concerned and say that this course is so important? Here is why. And I'm going to paint a picture on a very broad global landscape. The 21st century has quite rightly been called the century of paradoxes. Overconsumption of food is the hallmark of many nations, including Singapore, especially with all the wonderful food we have here. In contrast, food deprivation is seen in many developing nations of Africa, Latin America, and many parts of Asia. Today, 1 billion people, just imagine, 1 billion people are overweight or obese, and 1 billion others languish in poverty and hunger. In fact, for the first time in human history, the numbers of people overweight and obese have exceeded those that are undernourished. Whilst undernourished and undernutrition was a global scourge for centuries, and indeed I would say millennia, the 21st century has witnessed a remarkable shift in this nutritional paradigm. This highlights the urgent need to apply aspects of modern food technology, food production, food manufacture, food formulation, food safety, and indeed food security for the betterment of mankind. Interest in global food technology is the greatest now than ever before. This interest must be harnessed and consolidated by you, the new graduates of today. Ironically, while we produce sufficient food to feed every single mankind in this world today of 7 billion people, due to post-harvest losses, food spoilage, food waste, and limited purchasing power, millions go hungry every day. Can we as scientists in this room do nothing about this? And the answer surely must be, we must assiduously try to do something about it. So let's begin with post-harvest production of food. It has been estimated that approximately 30 to 40% of food is lost due to insect infestation, pests, rodents, and birds eating the grains that we are supposed to be eating. In fact, in North America and Europe alone, food losses are astronomical. 38% of all food grains are lost during post-harvest processing, 50% of seafood, 52% of fruits and vegetables, and approximately 20% of meat and milk. And I'm sure New Zealand has done a good job to stop this, because I see both the products that you manufacture of low food spoilage. If losses are so high in advanced nations, it is clearly likely to be even higher in developing nations. Can we really afford such an indulgence? How can we use your talent as food technologists to reduce post-harvest losses, innovate new ideas that will minimize food spoilage, and at the same time enable people to enjoy foods that are low in sugar, low in fat, and it's low in salt, but doesn't taste like cardboard? Because that's the key point. How can we make this happen? Just 3 weeks ago, on the 19th of November, the Food and Agriculture Organization and the WHO brought together for the first time 192 governments to attend the second International Conference on Nutrition and Food. This was the first time in 22 years that these two UN agencies brought together such a high level of international participants to discuss technical and policy options to improve people's access to food and health in a global perspective. At the heart of these discussions were aspects of sustainability of food systems, food production, and human nutrition. As we know, for decades, non-communicable diseases, or NCD for short, particularly cancer, cardiovascular disease, chronic respiratory disease, and diabetes, have been called, quite rightly, the hidden epidemic. The epidemic has been largely driven by poor diet, physical inactivity, and the harmful use of excessive alcohol and tobacco. These NCDs are also the major killers in Singapore. NCD caused 36 million deaths globally every year. Of these 36 million, sadly, 14 million occur in the most productive years of your life, which is between 25 to 70. Ironically, most of these deaths could be prevented by proper health, nutrition, and food. According to the recent McKinsey Global Institute report on overcoming obesity, which is a very powerful think tank, of the several recommendations made to combat the global pandemic of obesity, 7 of the 18 recommendations were based on food science, food technology, and food manufacture. These range from foods to be reformulated with reduced salt, sugar, and fat, reformulation of portion size, adoption of new technologies to minimize nutrient losses, and of course aspects of food safety and food security. These once again, ladies and gentlemen, highlight the central role that food technology is going to play today and tomorrow. So much for the science and why your subject is so important. Now I come to a more challenging part where apparently the guest opponent needs to give you some advice. As you know, advice is a terribly nebulous thing to do, but I'll attempt it nevertheless. So most people would like to have an acronym for the advice that you're given, and I've chosen a very, very simple and memorable one. So my acronym is Massey. Let's begin with the word M. M is for your mission. You really must have a mission in life. Dream big, think big, and above all, remember, nothing is impossible if you have big ideas. A is for articulate. In a world where speech, words, and information are frivolously used, it is paramount that you are clear in your analysis and in your thoughts. It is imperative that you articulate in your opinions, your views, and your speech. S is for science. As you've already seen from my examples, many of the world's problems that are going to confront us will only be solved by scientific impulse. Know your science, be passionate about your science, and understand how science may be utilized for the greater good of mankind and society. The application of science for the greater good of all of us is perhaps the greatest challenge that lies ahead of all of us. E is for enthusiasm. Be enthusiastic in what you plan to do. Enthusiasm and passion are both highly infectious. The people that surround you will be infused by your passion and enthusiasm, and this can transform the impossible to the possible. Y is for you, the greatest asset the world has known. You can shape your destiny. You can shape Singapore, and you can shape the world. Dear graduates, you are a chosen people. Your skills as food technologists are unique. You live in a world that is eager in seeking your skills. Make the full and best use of it. And as you walk through life, and at the end of your journey, many of you can triumphantly echo, I led a life of consequence. All the very best to you all, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Professor. Not only for those inspiring words, but for also inspiring through the work that you do on a daily basis, by working with students and young people in industry. I think that a lot of the young people that are here today will have a great deal to live up to in the journey that you've set out and laid, and the challenges that you've set before them. So thank you very, very much. Now, we still have a few anxious young people over here who would like to, I'm sure, finalize this important journey, so why don't we continue with the presentation of certificates.